Around the world and across Ghana's 16 regions, this is the AM show. And before we get into the news review, Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's not the correct tank. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is a champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. So go outside and check your tank right now. And if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. This is the number to call, 0244 335 168 to either buy one now or find one of our 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. Welcome to the news review segment on the AM show. My guests joining me this morning in studio, we have the legislator for Brekum West, Mr. Dixon Tredua, and we also have Afel Moni. He's a former president, GJA. Along the lines, we'll have a third guest, and when he joins us, I'll introduce him to you. But gentlemen, welcome to the news review segment. And it's the first time we're seeing you since that tragic incident. So I understand the black, and we're all preparing for tomorrow's state funeral. But I want to hear your thoughts for us this morning. And Mr. Moni, I'll start with you. Usually we reflect on national issues, but I don't want to guess, but I'm thinking it's somewhere along the lines of this tragedy.
Certainly, yes. As memories of the helicopter disaster continue to inflict seismic shock in our bones and excruciating pain in our hearts. We pray, continue to pray for the bereaved families. This is something which nobody expected. Our country is littered with prophets who make all kinds of prophecies, but none saw this coming.
Well, there was a prophet there was a video circulating around, although it wasn't specifically about what might happen to him, but he was calling for Dr. Maneboama to come see him or something. I think that was the reason why even that office, the envoy, the envoy of the president, the ecumenical office, asking that prophets should bring such prophecies to their attention.
That's another matter which ought to be looked at with all seriousness, because it's valid a lot of time. And a lot of time, by Maxwell simply says that if you do the right thing at the right time, we yield positive results. If we do the wrong thing at the right time, we will bring resistance. If we do the right thing at the wrong time, no, it's a mistake. Yeah. But if you do the wrong thing at the wrong time, it will bring disaster.
Right.
So I'm expecting officials and presidents in particular to put a pin on the policy proposal from Honorable Ankara on the request or directive to prophets to send their prophecies. Right. And many are punching holes in that policy proposal. It's rooted in knee-jerkism. Yeah. And in policy proposal, students in governance will tell you that environment is one critical element in formulating policies. And the present environment is not conducive at all to a directive to people to bring their prophecies. And the reaction, furious as they are, will tell you what is wrong with this proposal, dead on arrival.
Okay.
So we expect officialdom to come out and state position clear that if Anka might have meant well, but in squaring this to the logic of reality, this is not the time to pursue this policy direction. And let me take the opportunity to sprinkle a status of commendation on the largest opposition party, the MPP, over two decisions it has taken in recent times. One, the decision not to contest the Tamale Central by-election. And number two, the decision to apologize to His Excellency the President over the unpalatable, unsavory, and unconscionable comments made by members of the party. Again, students of leadership who attest to the fact that situational variables or contextual factors will always dictate what effective leaders do at any point in time.
Right. Okay.
We find ourselves in a situation which is heartbreaking, so wrenching and earth-shaking, all because of a disaster. And in consonance with this brutal reality, MPP decided not to contest the Tamale Central by-election. It's also seized the opportunity to demonstrate situational leadership and statesmanship by apologizing to His Excellency the President over the comments made by members of their party.
Okay.
So this is something we need to commend most profusely, and I believe other parties will also take a lead from this and do same. And lastly, in line with the principle of reciprocity, we expect the NDC to also withdraw from whichever election. NDC has come out to declare, to maintain its stand that it will contest. But again, we expect them, with the confluence of time and upon deeper reflection on the mood of the country, we expect them to put a pin on that decision to contest, so that a new chapter altogether will be opened for this country to advance in all directions.
All right. Let's see what the NDC will do with this. And Mr. Dixon, this is the first time we're hearing from you, so let's hear your thoughts first.
Sidi, good morning to you, and good morning to our cherished viewers out there. Today being the first time on your show since that tragic incident, may I take this opportunity to join millions of our compatriots to express my heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and all Ghanaians for that tragic incident. And also use this opportunity to appeal, not to caution per se, to all individuals to exercise some level of restraint and be very responsible in our commentaries. It is very important at this time we remain united as one country, united grief for our fallen heroes who have paid the ultimate price on line of duty. Having said that, may I also talk briefly about the apology issued by the General Secretary of the MPP yesterday upon the visit of the leadership to the NDC headquarters. It is quite interesting to see the leadership acknowledging that something went wrong and have apologized, while still their communicators continue with those inflammatory comments. Yesterday, it was unfortunate. I was on the show with one of them who kept insisting that there is nothing wrong about those comments. But the good thing is the leadership has apologized, has condemned, and that is the way to go. We should all be very circumspect in this trying moment and respect, show empathy, compassion to the bereaved families by not running those commentaries So that is about that. And the withdrawal of MPP from the Tamale Central election, the Chairman General has welcomed that decision. We all welcome that decision. And I think it is, one, to show respect to our departed comrade. Two, it is also a strategic political move. So we welcome that decision. And don't forget, Sweden, not long ago, we took similar decision by withdrawing from the Ejeso by-election. So you look at the circumstances surrounding the elections, you look at your prospects going into elections, and take all factors into consideration and take a decision. So for me, that's a very good decision from the New Patriotic Party. Sudi, let me end by paying glowing tribute to Dr. Mutala, who was the minister responsible for environment. And in Parliament, I serve on the Select Committee on Environment, Science and Technology. So my committee provides oversight over his ministry and the agencies under his ministry. Prior to rising on Friday, Thursday, I had an engagement with him, and his passion, his drive to end Galamsey was unparalleled. His passion for environmental stewardship and how he was looking forward to work closely with the members of the Environment Committee. You know, when we go on this long rides, that's when we do our visitations, we do our workshops, we go around to agencies to provide oversight. So our committee has outlined a number of activities, including travels across the country to northern region, western North Bono. So we had very fruitful engagement, and he was looking forward to work with us during that recess, only for his life to be taken in this cruel manner. For Dr. Omane Boama, Sweetie, you know, 2024 was my third shot for Brekum West. 2016 I lost, 2020 I lost. 2024, upon assumption into office as the Director of Elections and IT, he mapped up some constituencies. And Brekum West happened to be one of those constituencies he mapped up as a winnable constituency. He invited me to Accra, had 5 separate meetings. He engaged my constituency executives and provided data suggesting that that seat was a winnable seat. And indeed, the results on the 7th December 2024 was so telling that out of 69 polling stations in the constituency, we won 64 of them. And I owe him debt of gratitude for the information provided, his leadership in the elections management, especially in Brekum West. And finally, Sweetie, looking at Akwatia, as Doc suggested that NDC should withdraw from the Akwatia elections, I have heard several people also appealing to the party. I don't speak, I'm purport to speak for the leadership of the party. But the leadership has taken a decision that NDC is not withdrawing from Akwatia for several reasons. One, that in the 2024 elections, NDC believed and still believes that Akwatia seat was won by our parliamentary candidate. And for that matter, the candidate and the party jointly were litigating the issues in court until the untimely demise of my very good friend in that circumstances. So with that position that the party won and was litigating, it's going to be difficult to withdraw from that contest at this very trying times, because
this is one of the topics that I want us to
get. Sweetie, the good people of Akwatia need representation. You know, when you talk about it, this is parliamentary, you need representation. And the party believes the constituency can better be represented by the NDC candidate than the NPP candidate. And Akwatia stands to develop. In fact, I know NSC, our very close friend, and his vision was to develop Akwatia. And with NDC parliamentary candidate, his vision will be realized. That's why I think the leadership has taken this position, and we are all rallying behind the leadership of the party going into Akwatia.
Okay, so we'll discuss this, right? It's one of the things we'll discuss. I just want to usher in our third guest so that we can get incisive with that topic. So we have Kamal-Deen Abdulai is Deputy Communications Director for the NPP, and he's in studio with us. So welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So usually we give our guests a couple of minutes to reflect on any topical issue. They were just concluding on their initial takes for us. So let's hear yours, and then we'll get back to Akwatia. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, good morning to you, and of course to the cherished viewers out there. Sidi, I think that yes, we are in a state of mourning as a country. We're just trying to recover from the shocks that we all had as a result of the helicopter crash. And of course, the Muslims who were indeed involved have been buried. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on them. In this case, Dr. Mutala Ibrahim Muhammad, and also Al-Haji Lemuna Muniru. May their soul rest in perfect peace. And may Allah grant them the Jannah for those that we all pray that they get. The next thing has to do with touching on when I was just coming in, listening to Honorable when he alluded to the fact that some apologies have been rendered by my party as a result of some comments that we found untoward towards national development in terms of cohesion, as it were. I think this is a mark of a party that appears civil to matters that concerns all of us. Unlike when some of these things happen, our opponents in NDC, it is difficult to hear them even apologizing. I mean, fresh in our minds, which I wouldn't like to rehash, some reckless comments made by them or their communicators. And they are not on record to have ever shown remorse or even apologized. At least that tells you the difference between NPP and NDC, clearly. It tells you who appears much more civil, who appears much more, driving towards national cohesion, as it were. So, and I will use this opportunity to reiterate the point made by my General Secretary that, look, in as much as we are communicating, in as much as we are commenting on issues, we should be mindful of developing this country with our own talk, or with the way we actually express ourselves. We think that, yes, 32 years of democracy, we have journeyed as a people, we have gotten to where we are. NDC, we've seen NDC, we've seen NPP. It's always been, and ultimately it is God who chooses leaders. Whatever he chooses for us, we all have to come on board, assist in the way we can. If we have to critique, we critique constructively to ensure that this country is on the right trajectory. Okay. So I think that, yes, it's in the right direction, and I support it, as it were. Except to add that, look, the court granted them bail yesterday. We have one of our social media commentators, our contributors, Sir Obama, if you have heard about him. I hear he's been picked. He was picked, as it were, by the police. Initially, you're telling us that you sent your men to raid his home and arrest him. The next moment, the same police says, oh, he was to help in investigation. On what matter? Allegations are that he may have leads to people who are wielding guns or whatever in society because of the push that he makes. Then, lastly, it has to do with we are arraigning him before court. We really do not understand what it is. But be that as it may, it is important we, as a people, know how our security agencies operate and how they should operate. We have laws in this country.
Okay.
If the person is culpable,
Land for me, please.
Yes, if the person is culpable let the person go through the right channels of, being dealt with, so that it will not look like you are appearing selective, it will not look like you are appearing vindictive, as it were. I think that on this note, I solidarize with all those who have been arrested, and I commensurate with them, and I say that, look, let the law work. If they are at fault, let us see how best we're going to go through the mill in terms of the law granting, and then get things resolved, as it were. Okay,
so let's spend some time and discuss this Akwatia by-election briefly, and then we get into the newspapers. There are some very serious issues we should be talking about. So, Mr. Moni, you started by saying that you expect the NDC to follow in the queue of the NPP and say because of the tragic circumstances or the atmosphere, they would also just let go of the Akwatia by-election. And Mr. Chedu, you're saying that the party has decided they are going to rerun this, they're going to go through the by-election because you think that you have a chance to win again because you won. And it's because of the controversies and the case going to court. That is how come Ernest Yakumi got into that position. But the question is, would it not be a show of good faith that the NPP has decided that, given the tragedy, I think Accra is just opening up again. We are all just opening up again after this tragic incident. Would it not be a show of good faith that you are also just, supporting the rest of us to mourn and say, you know what, it's fine, it's just one seat in Parliament. You already have an overwhelming majority in Parliament. Do you really need to go and contest that seat in Akwatia?
It is not about winning. It is about proper representation of the good people of Akwatia. And we know Akwatia has been flipping between NDC and MPP over the years. And the difference is clear. When Akwatia has a member of parliament from NDC, we know the kind of representation in Akwatia. And when it is in the hands of MPP, we also see what goes on. So, one, it is on the basis of this that the good people of Akwatia are looking for accelerated development in their constituency, which our good friend never shied away from propagating and advocating for in Parliament.
What about the expectations of Ghanaians? I mean, I've listened, you've already expatiated on why you are going to
go through with it. The expectations of Ghanaians is that they want to see development in Akwatia, and the good people of Akwatia want development. So we are looking at NDC, MPP, who is better placed to advocate, lobby for development for the good people of Akwatia. And as I've said, the good people have tried. NPP member of Parliament. In fact, when Baba Jama was a member of Parliament, I visited Akwatia quite a number of times, and the number of developmental projects that he was able to lobby for the good people of Akwatia were monumental. It got to a point.
The concern is, do we have to go to an election now? Because we haven't been able to go through any election without violence for a really long time now.
Let me tell you my candid position.
Should we risk it?
Let me tell you my candid position.
Yeah.
For me, going forward, I'm looking up to a day when we will have some amendment. That's my personal position to the existing laws, that when a party loses a member in Parliament, that party should be given opportunity to replace without to by-elections, because we know history of by-elections in this country. So that has been my personal position, that in future, when it happens, the cost of organizing by-elections, violence associated with by-elections and all those. So until we get to that point, we're now talking about what the law says. The law says when a seat becomes vacant, the Electoral Commission will announce a date for by-election to be held, and all interested political parties and individuals are entitled to enter. As a political party, you make overall assessment of the situation and take a decision. And the decision of the leadership of the party is that the good people of Akwatia. Otherwise, why would we have also put our asanas on the table to win Ablikuma when we still had a clear majority? Because we believe strongly that members of parliament from the NDC side, especially from those constituencies, are so determined to ensure that their constituents benefit from their share of the national cake.
Okay.
The seat was given to Madam Amasi, and we saw the development that came their way. It flipped to NDC, and we saw what came. So now the good people of Akwatia are saying we're looking for a member of parliament from NDC to come and rescue us.
So points made.
On that basis,
we have to use the time
that we need to go into that very important election. So it's not about the representation. What we need to do is to learn from our lessons, go into this election in a very sober mood.
We always say that we never really have a safe, violence-free election. Exactly. So please hold for me.
And that is what we are committed to doing.
Some of your members of the party, and they said that they didn't decide to stay away from the Tamale Central election because of Akwatia. It wasn't a give or take situation. They just felt like the way the country is mourning and this tragic incident is you just let it go. But it appears some Ghanaians, and I'm even referring to Mr. Moni right now, expect that the NDC do same. Is it an expectation that your party holds as well? Or
yes.
I mean, it's of no concern to you whether they decide to follow suit or not?
Quick one, to comment on this, let me set off by trying to bring to Ghanaians what the NDC thinks about Akwatia and the flip-flopping that comes with it. Honorable sits here to say that they are of the belief that they won the seat.
Oh, yes?
With a girl
That's why we're in court.
With respect. They won the seat, and the reason why they were pursuing their matter in court.
Yeah.
Again, if you recall, the late Ernest Kumi, may he so rest in peace, had the difficulty even going into parliament. When he got into parliament, difficulty even contributing because parliament, those in the majority would not even allow him to speak, thinking or believing that the matter is still in court. In a nutshell, trying to say that Ernest Yakumi did not win Akwatia at all. But when the unfortunate happened, that's why I say they keep flip-flopping. When the unfortunate happened, their majority leader is on record to have eulogized the late gentleman and how gentleman he appears and how, all-inclusive he appears and how affable he was, as well as all the beautiful accolades were given to him, to the extent that he was recognized by the majority leader as a member of parliament elected by the good people of Akwatia. The next moment, they won it. He wasn't elected. I don't know which is which anyway. But that's just fast forward.
But before that recognition you're talking about, he was asked, that would he bear the consequences? Because it was a case in court. So it was a very controversial issue.
The case traveled up to Supreme Court.
Yes, I'm saying that it shouldn't sound as if the Speaker of Parliament recognized him without a controversy surrounding it.
I have not said so. I am saying, I just did mention to you that they have a position. The next moment, they're giving us a different position anyway. But that's, by the way, that's for Ghanaians to... Please. That's for Ghanaians.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Yeah, I'll come back to you.
I'll be very quiet. Please, respectfully. Let Ghanaians judge in a way. Why did we take a decision to opt out of Tamale Central? We took a decision, first and foremost, to assist Ghanaians in indeed commiserating or indeed showing our remorse or showing our, if you like, sympathy towards what had happened. To sympathize with the families of the deceased, to also sympathize with the President of the Republic of Ghana, and also sympathize with the NDC. That is how come our leadership even visited, you understand, to kind of show how we feel about the incident that had happened. First and foremost is to indeed bring out that humanity in all of us. Two, we saw that there's supposed to be needless if you like, acrimonious environment that characterizes our by-elections. We said, look, with this unfortunate incident and with the records that we have as a party, how by-elections pan out, we don't really think that Ghana is in that state at the moment. We're supposed to appear sober, reflect, look at the way forward, and replan and see what we can do. However, it is not to say that we wanted NDC to also say, look, we are also, just as you opted out of Tamale Central, we are also urging you to opt out of Akutia. No.
But that's what you're saying.
That's
exactly what Nana Boakye said yesterday. No. That is the exact same way. The story is actually on my
With all respect, if you listen to Nana Boakye, Nana Boakye hinged his submission on submissions of some renowned journalists in this country. On this table, you alluded to the fact that my good brother and our good uncle, Alfred Money, looked at the whole picture and said, must we subject ourselves to all this cacophony and all that?
Yeah.
Must we subject ourselves to all this whatever? Why can't we think about it soberly and say, okay, if this is what is happening, let's also opt out and move on. That's his opinion. That equally is opinion of Nana Boakye. It is not a party stance. Distinguish that.
Okay.
Nana Boakye is our national organizer, perfect. But Nana Boakye, before even saying this, I know journalists of multimedia who came out to say, look, it will be proper if NDC opts out of Akutia and NPP also opt out of Tamale Central. Journalists within multimedia. And I can mention names. I listen to them. Even that preceded Nana Boakye's comment. So yes, it will be in good faith for all of us to do that. But we didn't do it because we wanted to urge them to do it. But let me tell you, Akutia is very winnable to us. We are sure of winning Akutia. Why? Take 2020 election. Presidential. MPP won overwhelmingly. 2024 election, presidential, MPP won overwhelmingly. Where we have problems within our parliamentary, it is when we have internal issues, where you have difficulty in the selection of a candidate. But in this case, we have all agreed to select a particular candidate. And I can tell him without any equivocation that going into this election, MPP is going to beat NDC hands down in this election.
Let's land on
Akutia is a traditional seat for us. In a way, it is not like for them that he knows.
Okay.
So I'm surprised that he's making these comments.
Let's hold on for now. Yeah. Mr. Money, it looks like September the 2nd, the NDC and the NPP will be locking horns again in this by-election. We just have a few minutes to spend on this. I saw you making a lot of notes, so let's hear your thoughts. Clearly, the NDC is not, they haven't decided to sit this one out. And it's not a thing that we can force on them. They have every right to decide to go through with the election. But what do you say? You started the conversation about the expectation of the
UN Secretary General, Dr. Boutros Ghali of Egypt, once said, and I quote, it's only a fool that doesn't change his mind. This is not to suggest or imply that NDC is a foolish party run by foolish people. But this is to appeal to them to filter their decision to contest through the tight weave of reality. And the reality now is that ours is a nation in deep mourning. Ours is a nation which is healing as an imperative necessity. We all know what by-elections bring. Every election induces its own tension. By-elections have been characterized by high voltage tensions and red-hot tempests, which crystallize into violence. So as to speak, violence in our elections is an insoluble puzzle and constitutes an indelible stain on our democracy. So if we are declining on the democracy index, it's because of the incident of violence across the country, mostly occasioned by by-elections. So our appeal is to the NDC. Please, you have decided.
Yeah. But it is, all you're saying is it is possible to change your mind.
It's possible to change your mind.
Okay, it's not too late.
Yeah, it's not too late for them to change their mind.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moni.
And Sudi, please, quick.
You have to make it very brief for me.
Just quick one on this. I'm very surprised. You know, today I'm in a very sober mood and don't want to indulge in politics. But there are several occasions where NDC has lost a member and MPP did not withdraw. In 2004 elections, Dr. Jibril, it's very important. Dr. Jibril won. He passed a year later in 2005, the one that brought Honorable Muntaka into Parliament. Oh. Why didn't they withdraw? Although they did in 2005, we had a member who passed. Why didn't they withdraw? Jirapa 2009, they did not withdraw. Chiriponi 2009, they did not withdraw. Akache South 2013, they did not withdraw. Buem 2013, we had a member who passed. They contested. No. Telensi, they didn't withdraw 2015. Memphis West. So this, if you are withdrawing in this instance, this is a strategic political move you are making. If you so committed that when NDC loses a member, to honor his memory, you would withdraw. Why in the previous instance you did not withdraw? And let me tell you, there's difference. In a few years ago, we withdrew. So depending on the circumstances, that is the point we are making.
That's what he's saying.
Let me finish with this very important point. The hypocrisy of MPP is telling in this particular case. Let me tell you, in Akwatia, MPP top people campaign vigorously, skirt and blouse against NS Yaokumi. And today, to pretend, and I mean, if you know what he went through in Akwatia, that's why I said I don't want to do politics this morning. But the angle we're taking, MPP were campaigning against him in Akwatia in the 2024 election.
I didn't get that.
You have to be fair to me to respond to this. It is important. Please.
I'm
verify that right now.
Hypocrisy is so telling.
I'll give you, Mr. Abdulai,
the party leadership has taken a position. You were the very people who were campaigning vigorously against that guy in that election. He managed to go through per the results. And let me also clarify, until a court of competent jurisdiction rules in this matter, once he was in Parliament, he was considered as a member of Parliament. We're waiting for a ruling to come. So to say the leadership of MPP and the majority leader elogize him as a member, because until his untimely death, no court had ruled. And even though we disagreed with the result, until a competent court of jurisdiction rules, we had to accept the result, and we're contesting that.
Mr. please hold
my brother, let us not do this. You have decided, and let us be blunt here. You are withdrawing because you think you have no chance in Tamale Central. That's one of them.
So he's saying that there have been so many instances where they withdrew from elections because of
He only cited
He listed a number of
You were not listening to him. What he said was that there had been so many instances that they lost their MPs and we never withdrew. However, they also withdrew in a just. So that's what the point he made. But the point I want to make clear is that he talks about hypocrisy.
Yes.
And he talks about they winning or they be in a position to have won the Akwatia election. What happened in their primaries? Hypocrisy at its highest order. The lawyer who believed that the candidate they presented won the election, contested against him and won the primaries and took him out. The man you said he has won. You, within your own party, you have taken him out. That is hypocrisy at its highest peak. You believe the person has won. The people, good people, excuse me. The good people of Akwatia have chosen somebody for you, who you presented. You, the same person, goes behind and say, no, he cannot win the election. We are changing him and we bring a new person. The new person you have brought, that is hypocrisy. That's one. Now, you see, now.
Someone will come to in a minute.
Yes. Now, this is a democratic party.
Please, let me hear
Let's have a discussion. You see, departing from that hypocritical comment that he made, on which I have just cited to him that within his own party the hypocrisy is there. Now,
is it in fact that members of your party
Campaign against.
I'm not answering that. If you listened to me earlier, maybe he was hearing me, he wasn't listening to me. I did mention that, look, sometimes in politics, internal issues will cause you to lose the seat. And I alluded to the fact that if you take presidential results, MPP won emphatically. If we look at the parliamentary, we had difficulty because of our internal arrangement in primaries or at primaries, which I said, he rightly mentioned the factions that was created in Akutia. I agree with him. Baba Jamal, even before winning Akutia, it was factions again. He doesn't have the history of the. I go there. My sister is married there, and I go there.
Someone wants to break this.
So I am saying that
we can move on.
Internal issues may cause problem, but this time around we have chosen a candidate, and unanimously all of us have embraced him and pushed Asumeni in front. And I'm saying that in this election, this by-election, they are going to be whipped and whipped so well. Okay,
Mr. Moni, final word on Akutia by-election.
Instances of withdrawal cited by Honorable are rooted in facts and indeed highly commendable. But as a nation, this is not the time to set the past against the present. Otherwise, we stand the risk of losing the future. As a nation, we want to do everything within our means, humanly possible, to secure the future. And lastly, on the point of development made by Honorable, if NDC finally decide to cede the seat to MPP, the ruling NDC government, is in a better position to decide the developmental trajectory of Akutia better than an MPP MP. So this argument.
No, so we need. Parliamentarians don't go to develop. Government has development. That's a good one.
You know, if you have an MP, who is not up and doing, who is not advocating, who is not lobbying, who is invisible, who is not on the floor of the chamber. No.
What are the days of will?
You know,
by days of will of an MP is not to develop.
No, but to lobby, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. So whether opposition or in power, you can lobby.
It's about your industry. It's about your industry. You have visibility, you have contribution on the floor. That will catch, you know, the national cake is there, the kitty is very small, and everybody is
Gentlemen, do you know that the IGP's task force against illegal mining were pelted with stones and attacked somewhere in Mansun Kwanta also? First of all, let's take a look at that report and then we'll discuss, because it's not a good look on us that citizens, the very menace, the very canker eating at the fiber of this country's development that we are trying to fight, citizens decide that they want to fight the people of authority who want to fight that. Let's take a look at what happened in Mansun Kwanta when the IGP's anti-illegal mining task force tried to seize an excavator.
IGP's Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force came under attack today as angry illegal miners led by the assembly member pelted them with stones after the team seized one excavator from an illegal mining site at Bontesu close to Mansun Kwanta in the Ashanti region. The team came under attack by almost large crowd from the community pelting stones in an attempt to attack the team. The team is seen firing warning shots to disperse them, but they kept coming. Leader of the team, ASP Bawa Abdul Jalil and Sergeant Agblepe Mawena Yao sustained some injuries. They managed to arrest the assembly member for the area, Patrick Asare, and two others, Oseivasko and Akwesi Amponsa. After a series of warning shots and targeted arrests, the task force managed to control the situation, dispersed the hostile crowd, and transported the seized excavator to the Mansun Edubia police station. They had to leave one excavator at the site due to the hostile situation. The Mansun area is noted for years of extreme illegal mining, destroying farmlands and polluting streams there.
So that's what happened at Bonteso, and it's near Mansun Kwanta, and that's where that incident happened. Gentlemen, a few days ago, a day plus a week ago, we lost 8 lives because of illegal mining. Not directly, but they were on their way to go and launch a program, cooperative mining, and whatever the situation is. To come from that level of tragedy, and then barely days after, people, citizens themselves, are pelting a task force. Clearly, they're in uniform. We saw the footages ourselves. What does this even say? What does this mean for us in the fight against illegal mining? I want to start with you, Mr. Abdulai.
Well, thank you very much. I think that a lot of calls, even yesterday, the chiefs within Greater Accra had called to say that, the unfortunate incident that happened, which claimed lives of 8 illustrious sons of Ghana, should be a wake-up call to us, and should be a compelling reason why the government should not sleep when it comes to the fight against illegal mining. You see, there's so much difficulty in it. I recall when President Akufo-Addo, wherever he is this morning, I say good morning to him and commend him for what he did. When he made a pronouncement that he had put his presidency on the line and that he was going to fight illegal mining to the core, Prisia Huni Valley, if you know the elections, the demography of our voting pattern in this country so well, Prisia Huni Valley in the western region was a traditional seat of MPP. We lost it as a result of declaring to say we're going to fight illegal mining. I'm coming to this matter. Takwa, we nearly lost it. All the mining areas, okay, rose up against us and voted massively against our party in 2020 because of that reason. I am trying to tell you how citizens feel when governments come up or gets up to say we're fighting illegal mining. Fast forward to where we are today, even though that time we didn't get full support of the NDC. We were expecting that. We didn't get it. They even went there with cameras to tell them that when we come, we allow you to do your work. We have cameras, videos to show. Their deputy communication, Kuku is on record to have done that. Reckless as it may appear, but you see, it is a national call for all of us. Where we are today, we have seen the menace caused by illegal mining, in this case Galamsey. And all of us agree that, look, if we do not kill Galamsey, Galamsey will finish us. We all agree. One, it's poisoning our water bodies. Two, we are not getting the environment right again. It's depleting everything that we have, causing environmental degradation. Three, we know again that we have not been able to harness the royalties that God has given us as a country so that we could use that to economically have value for this country. We have not gotten that. And then four, we have not had government getting data around these areas to give proper livelihood to the people in those areas, because illegal mining is indeed swaying all these things away. Where we are today, it tells you that this fight is not easy. Look at the way the police people got hurt, assuming they didn't even have arms to protect themselves. Because the warning, I'm sure it's the warning shots that even helped them.
And
assuming they didn't have arms,
even leave on
assuming they were not properly prepared, and the citizens who decided to attack them with stones and whatever that they had succeeded in empowering them, what would have happened? It would have been another disaster again for us as a country.
You mentioned that former President Akufo-Addo did in fact say he was putting his presidency on the line. Between that time, because that was in the early days
of fighting, when he declared
office,
it.
Yes. Yeah. So between that time and the time he was leaving office, would you say that these are the same factors? You say we don't have enough data to know exactly what these people are and give them alternative livelihood. The people themselves see it as a venture of making money, as a source of livelihood. Are these the reasons why the president couldn't fight the Galamsey? He couldn't put his presidency on the line.
I am telling you about the resistance that may come from the people. And I also said that in fighting this Galamsey, we should put certain factors on board so that all of us would have an inclusion and agree to those factors. Say, if provision of livelihood, what can we do? We find a way. How are we going to harness our royalties and whatever?
Is that
all the
work?
Factors. Look,
alternative livelihood will work.
You see, when you have, sometimes it's not just poverty, because some rich people also sponsor this. Okay, and I think there's not just poverty. However, it is also important that those young ones who are, of course, gullible, who may be brought on board to go and work for some rich person sitting in Accra or somewhere, when they have their livelihood actually defined, they may not be seen on the ground doing that. However, what is the solution now? We've all now attested and agreed that, look, there's resistance on the ground. We now need a national cohesion in the fight against Galamsey. What can we do? When we were in power, there were calls for us to declare state of emergency. factors best known to the government never declared the state of emergency. The NDC is in power. There are calls for them to declare state of emergency. The president has declared state of emergency. Best known to the government hasn't done that. But I still think that there should be a way out. Just as we went to Senchi and some other places to organize a forum, my suggestion to this government is that, look, let us have a national forum on Galamsey organized. National House of Chiefs should be part of it. Council of State should be part of it. Parliament should be part of it. All political parties must be part of it. The government, of course, is going to be led by the president. It's part of it. What is on the table? Should we declare state of emergency as we all agree? Yes, against Galamsey. It's a factor. When we declare state of emergency, should there be an executive order signed that all security persons who are signed on the ground, if you see anyone in it, and I keep saying this, despite Article 13 telling you don't take lives away. But of course, when in Kenya, when it became difficult, when they were losing ivory, and the elephant, what's the name? The wildlife was being under attack. The president declared shoot and kill mechanism. Anyone found on the ground doing this, security, fire, so long as that within that precinct or those parameters, it is already coded that no one should have this illegal mining, and they are there doing it, fire, open fire. So now, when we do that...
What about human rights?
I just mentioned that Article 13 of the Constitution says it.
What about the people who would come for our heads if we actually go in these
What they are doing against us is also against human rights.
A few weeks ago...
You don't know that?
A few weeks ago,
yes.
we cleared the streets of Accra with
yes.
these foreigners. Not months ago, not a few weeks ago. I think in the middle of the year.
Yes.
And we had so many international human rights agencies come and say that there's a way you have to go about it. Put that aside. When you try to clear the traders on the streets of Accra that are, preventing pedestrians and cars from moving freely, citizens themselves will come and say, well, we don't have any other way.
The comparison for me...
I'm giving you some instances why I think that, it takes more than that.
With a great respect to you.
It takes more than saying, let's go and shoot and kill them in the forest.
I'm saying, with the greatest of respect to you, the comparison you are making, or the comparative analysis you are trying to make now, indeed, doesn't really match.
When we kill these people...
When we say shoot and kill...
The world will come for us.
Shoot and kill necessarily does not mean...
I'm trying to make.
But shoot and kill necessarily does not mean that let's go out there and start shooting. With the great respect, these security persons are professionals as well. We are saying that, look, what can we do to deter people, on the ground? It is a measure you put in place. Necessarily, of course, before even a security professional, a professional security agent person shoots, he weighs situations a lot. They don't just shoot. But it is a mechanism put in place. When we announce it, that look, anyone found within these areas, I'm backing on Galamsey. One of the measures given to the security is to shoot and kill. That announcement goes on there. Trust me, this thing is going to get some deterrence put in place, and we may be able to make a headway in it. But if it is about leaving them to do what they want to do, what we are seeing on your screens now, the police go in and they're attacking them is what is going to continue. But if there was an announcement out there, the government has given so and so, or taken so and so stance, and we've declared state of emergency, and this can happen to you when you do this, trust me, nobody will dare even do this. Nobody will come out.
I appreciate the passion with which you're saying that that is a solution. Like shoot a few people, and they'll realize that that's a no-go area. But we just can't pick up arms and do that.
I think if you listen to me, I just thought that well anyway, but that's fine.
I'm just saying, but it just doesn't sit well with me.
Okay, Sidi.
For you to...
Sidi, having watched this footage, there is that temptation to go on that tangent. Shoot and kill. I have been on this platform and advocated against it over and over. By having watched this, there is that temptation. But you see, under what law are you going to do that? You see, as a democratic country, you need to abide by rule of law. And arbitrarily killing is grave human rights abuse. So it's a very difficult conversation. We need to do.
Do you remember how Major Muhammad was killed?
That
was no human rights.
You see,
there was no human rights. Major Muhammad had no human rights.
To legitimize it, I think we need to do more. As I said, there is that temptation, but I don't think that is the way to go. We need to do more. But quickly, sweetie, his declaration, or President Akufo-Addo's declaration of putting his presidency on the line, for me, let us put it on record. That it was much ado about nothing. Completely.
So you were doing something?
No, it was much ado about nothing. Nothing.
You are doing something.
Nothing was achieved. In fact, during the ADS, that former president was in office, there was what I call semblance of fight against Galamsey, pretending to be going after some individuals, but at the same time emboldening their party people.
I didn't want to go on that tangent, but if you want me to go, I'll go on that tangent then.
From Paul Manson's report, as we saw on several occasions, so don't go there. This government is really, really determined to end it. Measures are in place, and we are fighting. You indicated it's a very difficult fight. So if shoot and kill was option to end it, why was it not implemented? You had 8 years to have implemented that. So we are putting all the cards on the table.
But and you see the progress. Working. Is it working? If it was working, would we see what we're seeing now?
I've been following.
Hold on.
Let me tell you, the level of impudence that was allowed to go unchecked during 8 years, and you think in 7 months we can get rid of all the Galamseyers off the field. Now, 9 forests that were seized under the tenure have been recovered. None of them is now occupied by Galamseyers. It was during their time that they passed a law to legitimize mining in forest reserves. And now we are dealing with the aftermath of it, trying to reverse. That trying to repeat. So when we talk about fight against Galamsey and President Akufo-Addo's declaration of putting his office on the line, in fact, nothing significant was achieved. And from Paul Manson's report, it's a testimony for us all.
I wish you
so don't let us go on that tangent. We are determined to fight it. It's a difficult fight. We require national consensus, collective effort to end it. And all ideas, suggestions that will help end Galamsey are welcome.
Okay.
But don't pretend you were doing better than this government has done. In fact, this government has done better in 7 months than you did in your entire 8 years in terms of fight against Galamsey.
Really?
Mr. Money, you are the tiebreaker because we have NDC and NPP. It's actually very good for us to, on the footage.
Just so. And one word encapsulates what you saw on the screen. That is impunity. And one thing about impunity is that if it's not tackled with all serious and brutal seriousness, it reignites a self-propelling cycle, a re-energizing cycle, which becomes almost impossible to tackle. You mentioned the Frimpong Boateng report. All the causal factors for our inability to win the war against Galamsey are in there. So we'll be dancing around, we'll be skirting the surface of the issue if we attempt to hold a national forum. At the state expense, people come, drink, eat, and go away, and go back to back to business as usual. As I said, in the best repeating that the causal factors are well known. One, political will is so conspicuous by its absence in the fight against Galamsey. We still have untouchable individuals, highly connected people who are driving this business of Galamsey. So unless we pluck the political will to deal surgically with the people behind Galamsey, all our efforts will be in vain. But let me commend the IGP for what he's doing. In fact, we heard from a very reliable source, independent reliable source, Erasmus as a multimedia film. He testified at a recent forum that the IGP men, they are making inroads in the fight against Galamsey. So this is a plus to the present attempt to fight Galamsey. But the time has come. In fact, the loss of the 8 gallant men in the most tragic circumstances, and what we have seen should induce a turning point in the fight against Galamsey. This is a time for us as a nation to go after people who are destroying our environment, feeding fat where they have no soul, sentencing the whole generation to distraction. This is a time to fight Galamsey with all intensity, with all ferocity, and with all tenacity.
Mr. Money, in fact, gentlemen, for nearly 2 years I've sat in this chair on the AM show. I can say that almost every week the issue of illegal mining comes up. And all I hear is, can we manipulate them better, or, better than they manipulate us? It is just a big, terrible, ominous situation that we have clad in political colors right now. And as an individual, as a journalist, I cry for Ghana because I do not see the end in sight. I will tell you confidently, I don't see the end in sight. Seizing excavators, it doesn't do anything. They'll find a way. Saying that let's hold a forum and talk. What are we going to talk about that we haven't already spoken about at length? President Mahama can speak up a storm. If we do not decide that this is like a drug, Galamsey is like Colombia and the rest, their cocaine problem.
And what happens to them when they get there?
You see? And yet we're still doing this talk shop, and we have to do this.
What happens to those drug dealers when they get there?
I think we have to take decisive action. I'm not trying to side with your shoot and kill suggestion. But I have no hope. I'm telling you, I have no hope.
Yes.
Since the time that I started joining and observing how political leaders talk about everybody is just trying to manipulate everybody. Because if we really wanted to fight illegal mining, we wouldn't be sitting here right now and be having this conversation. And you will not be saying choose and kill. Mr. Shredia, you will not be saying that this administration has...
We can get out of this 2 minutes of hopelessness.
We know what to do.
By political
it's just whether or not
the right
we have the bandwidth or wherewithal to actually follow through.
Mr. Money said something. Mr. Money said
difficult decisions.
Conspicuously missing in the fight against Galamsey is political will.
We don't have
it. And I want to associate myself with the comment he made. It's a fact. Why lack of political will? What my brother just did. NDC want to say, we look good, we are doing better. NDP want to say, we look good, we are doing better. That will erode the political will that we all need to fight. I am saying to that. Look, first of all, to have even had the intention of triggering the fight was a good thing. For the Akufo-Addo alone to even trigger that, look, there's a danger, a looming danger. That alone was something. Yes, I'm not saying it was 100%. I'm not saying his administration was 100%. I'm saying that we triggered it. We all needed to come on board. And I cited you when you were in opposition, when we triggered it. You fought it. And went there with video to tell them that you will allow them to do campaign, minor when you come.
What would it take for us to say ban all forms of mining for 6 months? Let's do a proper assessment.
It's a point. Let's look at it. But we tried it.
Hold on,
Amongst many solutions on the table, there is one key that over the years we've not paid critical attention. For me, the most important thing is, if you take them out of the site, what is the alternative source of livelihood? And that is exactly what this government is doing. Now, in areas where we cannot take them off, what we are saying is, let government support, form cooperatives, and do responsible mining. It was what was going to be launching, or was that incident come? Because one, you go in with the security, drive them off the site, no alternative livelihood. Some of them enter the streets with guns, and so it's a holistic approach. Government now is making it difficult to bring in excavators. Now we've reclaimed the forest. Now processes are underway to trace sources of gold that gold bought by. So if you get to a point where if you get it from unapproved source, illegal source, you cannot sell the gold. We create livelihood. So there are multiplicity of solutions.
The question is, the people pelting police officers with stones because they've come to seize it.
That's what I'm saying. They should be dealt with.
Do you think they'll be willing to, venture into another form of, source of livelihood? Do you think that if you say, let's, for example, give them a huge farmland and then let them ply themselves, let them just
for instance,
they will agree to
for instance, if a cooperative is formed,
these are people who have picked arms.
If a cooperative mining is formed, government support with machinery, whilst mining is going on, there's land reclamation, planting, and all those things. So, you see, let us establish the baseline. I don't think anybody is against extraction of gold. What everybody is against is the associated destruction to the environment. So if there is a way we can help them to undertake their activities in a responsible manner, devoid of polluting our water bodies, devoid of polluting our soils, are we not for that? And that is exactly what this government is going to do. As I said, it will take time, but surely with commitment and dedication to this cause, we shall surely get there. So my brother, let us all unite together and fight this. But for me, alternative livelihood, ensuring responsible mining are two interventions. Otherwise, drive them out. You are only relocating them from one area to another problem area, because over the years they've lived off their activities, and you don't just drive them without alternative.
When you say it will take time, how much time do you envisage it would take for us?
That's why I said in 7 months. Look at the progress we've made. Now excavators are not coming in. Now our forests that were under siege have been taken over, and gradually we are getting there. And this responsible mining, if you read the roadmap, the government said by August, September, they will be rolling out this cooperative responsible mining. And that was going to be launched in Obuasi, and indeed it was launched.
I will commend multimedia. I will commend multimedia.
Except that really, because of the calamity around it, we are not talking about the launch and the benefits thereof. That will be accrued to us.
You spoke about land reclamation, but every day children are dying.
So we'll be dealing with that after the state funeral, and what processes will be underway to roll out the cooperative responsible mining
in tandem with action against
that's exactly what we're saying.
Of the environment.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
While we sit here, elements of NDC say we have come to power and it is our turn to do galamsey or mining.
That is total.
That is what is happening.
That is totally
and
not
there are
true.
names.
It is this government.
To the extent
that is holding
that your national organizer.
Gentlemen.
To the extent that your national organizer.
So
why is he supposed to be appearing before IOCO?
Exactly.
To the extent that
you are involved.
I'm trying to say that look, let us not put talk on this matter. Because what is on the ground is very different.
No, but sweetie, you have to be very honest.
Party people
who have been mentioned are now facing investigations. During your time, people who were mentioned in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report got away with it. That's the difference.
When it comes to legal mining, the only voice that I trust, honestly, is Erastus Asare Donko.
Absolutely.
With the facts, the details, the figures.
So
and
what you are saying
that the NPP gurus were the ones in charge.
Now
it is NDC.
That's exactly
this
what
in an interview with them.
No, the reports are
so to conclude with this,
that is why we
do you agree you are good with
I agree that political will is not there. So let's
the difference is
the government of Ghana has confirmed that it has sought international assistance in investigating the helicopter crash in the Ashanti region. Now, the arguments are divided. Some are saying that seeking international help undermines our own sovereignty, our own ability to, handle our affairs. Others are saying that it's quite the opposite. It's not undermining our own capabilities, but rather it speaks that we can get help when we want it. don't forget that we are a developing country, and there are so many developed countries who can help us with technologies that we haven't even dreamt of yet. Let's spend some time on this matter, because it looks like from the way we handled the crash site to the way we had to export DNA samples to another country to verify which body belongs to, which personality, down to this moment where we are seeking, although we have found the black box, we have taken it back to the manufacturer so they can decode and all that. Where does Ghana sit on the, in terms of global affairs when it comes to technology to handle issues like this? Because you cannot tell me that we don't have forensic experts who can actually deal with these issues, but it's about the technology to actually, deliver the results that we want. Are we always going to play catch-up? Mr. Moni, let me start with you this round. Where do you sit in the argument? Is it undermining our own abilities, capabilities, or sovereignty, or is it helping us?
City, you did admit that ours is a developing country. And developing country means that we are not arrived yet. Meaning there are so many areas where we need to catch up, so many areas where we need to invest resources which will yield the right dividends. And I heard one of the experts lament about the under-resource situation they find themselves. So if we, as a nation, decided to go elsewhere to help resolve this national conundrum, I see nothing wrong with that. It's a reflection of our state of development. We are not arrived, but even with advanced countries, they seek help from other countries which have advanced more than them in certain areas of development. So there's nothing shameful about that.
Okay. So there's nothing shameful about this. Yeah, that's what you think. Yeah. Okay, great. Mr. Chedia, what do you say?
I totally agree with Doc in this word over such accidents, calamities. There is, in fact, the best international practice is international collaboration in this. Countries have advanced in certain specific areas than others. US, UK, Israel, you take the three, they all have areas where they have the most advanced technologies in their favor. So when issues happen like this, it's important when you want to get to the bottom of the matter and to have the credible results that will be accepted by all parties involved. It's sometimes important to have international collaboration. Let us not look at it like somebody else is doing us for us. Our investigators are collaborating with our international partners to ascertain the true cause of the accident, and absolutely there's nothing wrong with that. Having said that, it is also important. These things are wake-up calls for us as a country to start developing the technology in our country. For instance, the DNA, I think we've gotten to a point that UGMC should have a sophisticated DNA laboratory to undertake these tests locally. So it's a wake-up call for us. But at this point, I think there is nothing wrong. Best international practice encourages some of these things, but we need to develop our own institutions to be competent enough to take some of these investigations locally going forward.
You don't think that where we are right now, over 60 years after independence, and seeing how the rest of the world is evolving, and some people have gone to the moon and back.
Yes, we are.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that we are still developing to the point that we cannot look within and say no? For this one, it just doesn't go well for us.
Yes.
Ought to have these technology, and because it's I don't want to say simple because I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know the specifics of it, but just to hear that Ghana has no technology to verify the remains, which belongs to which personality, and we have to go to South Africa, another African country. I think that we shouldn't play it small. We shouldn't say that, oh, we are just still a developing country. And I think that we should actually treat it as a serious thing that we are lacking behind.
There are certain things that we don't know. The public probably may not be aware.
Okay.
You know, some of the laboratory tests you take here, you go, they take your sample. Some of them are sent outside for results to be brought in. So you only go for your results. But indeed, the sample went out for whatever test to be conducted and results brought in. So I totally agree.
Okay.
We need to accelerate our developments, especially in the area of sciences and technology.
All right.
That is key for socio-economic development of every country. So we are lagging behind, and these incidents should serve as wake-up call for us to accelerate developing in these areas.
Mr. Abdulai, are we being honest with ourselves?
I think first of all, let us not say that let us not throw our hands in despair to say that we haven't actually achieved a lot as a country. When you take from independence till date, trust me, Ghana is still not where it was. Let's be fair to ourselves and let us pat ourselves on the back and say, there's more to be done anyway, but we have moved on. I recall when Joy came on air in 1995. Today, look at where Joy is. That alone is an example to tell you that there is a going concern. We are growing. You understand what I mean? Now, what we have to do is to pay heed to our education model. I am happy once again, and let me eulogize the former president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, when he instituted the STEM educational projects. STEM is what has gotten these developed countries where they are. STEM and TVET. But what we have rather done here is to hinge on humanities, journalism, marketing, law, whatever. But what actually works? The cameraman standing behind here and watching us, he's more important than us sitting here. Without him, nobody sees what is outside.
Debatable.
No, it's debatable though, but I'm saying we all have to meet at a point. But I'm saying that, you see, they pay heed first to STEM, to science, technology. Now, complement that with the humanities, and you'll be good to go. I'm not saying the humanities are not there, but our model of education must not, like I have my daughter at home. What do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a journalist. It's all important. But now ask yourself, what career development have you given to people who have chosen areas and made sure that they become experts in that area? That is where we have fallen short. The person finished degree after master's is done. But that's, by the way, second issue. Have we deliberately invested in critical areas like our health sector? So that when we have UGMC, we don't come to say Atamos or John Mahama build it and that ends that we are in town and making noise about it. What are the components of UGMC? When a new government comes and say, okay, we lack this forensic laboratory, it ought to come, let's add that. When the person adds it and the other person comes, add this, we will develop the center to a level. But where you now target with politics, that look, John Mahama did it. Myself who comes in and I know I will not get credit, I will not add what I'm supposed to add there. But let's see it as a national monument that all of us would have to think and think beyond out of the box to help us build it. Finally, to put on this, it is not a shame for us to say that we are going to bring experts to look at our black box. It's not at all. Russia, with all their development, sometimes when they find themselves in situations, they invite other countries to come and then help them. America, with all their development, they also do same. And one thing you should know about aircraft manufacturing is that components come from different countries to build. The engine may come from UK, what's the name? Rolls-Royce. But they are the best aircraft engines in the world. Now I hear the Chinese are also trying to go far. You understand? America also has their Boeing is also there. Maybe Boeing is using Rolls-Royce engines sometimes. So I'm trying to say that other countries come in. We are in a global village. Now, as a world, we shouldn't be ashamed of ourselves to say that, yes, where we are taking our black box to go and be analyzed. Yes, it's better to build our aspects. Even after building our aspects, we need cross-checking. You remember when we had the Malcolm disaster, the Ground Zero? Yeah. Israel had to come to our aid to see how we can, see if we can get some survivors out of it, out of the rubble. So I'm saying that, look, a world has now become a single country, and all of us are together. It's a global village. We live on together. However, it's not to say that we should be lazy not to develop our own aspects. It is very important. Okay. Ghana.
So, in a related development, people were concerned that the remains were put in cocoa sacks. Yeah. But I think there's been some clarity on that.
Yeah.
I was struggling to believe. Yeah, there were body bags available, but the remains were just too hot. Actually, let's listen to what the clarity is, and then we come back in studio.
Do the recovery efforts with the available and appropriate material we have on the ground. We had some body bags at the scene, but the remains were so heated that it was not conducive for the bags to be used. It was in a thick forest, it was getting late. We had the option of leaving our remains there to the following day, and we know what could have happened to the bodies.
The Ghana Armed Forces has now secured
So that they just heard from CDS Ejapong, and he said that there were body bags available. It's just that it was just too hot. The bodies were too hot for them to be transported in. So cocoa sacks were the best alternative, they said.
First of all, I have a problem with the men even on the ground. You see, how we respond to emergency situations is one matter. The team that got there, were they professional emergency situation attendees? I mean, attendants, I should say.
No, they weren't.
Perfect. So if they were not, let us grant, and of course, you know the Ghanaian and the culture we find ourselves in. If there's an accident here, Ghanaian wants to help quickly. Even though there will be some who will be taking the photo pictures and whatever, they will also be there. But Ghanaian will also want to say that, look, forgetting that no, there's a way you are trained to even handle somebody who is in a casualty or who is a victim. But first of all, if there was no professional people around or at the ground at that moment, I think it is something we can pardon the situation. Two, when they arrived, yes, indeed, you and I were not there, to borrow the words of Dr. Baumia. Okay? Yes, the professional is saying that there were body bags indeed. And we all know body bags are also plastics. Most of them are plastics. Okay? If it is true that, yes, the human, remnants that they got were hot or too hot to be carried, and you can't, obviously, it stands to reason you can't put in the plastic, whatever. So, bad as it may appear, I want to say that, look, let's just take our emergency response situation important. NADMO is sitting there. How well are we equipping NADMO? Ghana Fire Service is sitting there. How well are we equipping Ghana Fire Service for responses like this, rapid response like this? Okay? How many helicopters or planes do we have sitting for emergency response? I mean, I have to check. I don't know. The last time I checked, they told me even the police one that we have, it's a difficulty. So I'm saying that, look, we should pay heed to the emergency situation response, and then also try, when we get to the ground, educate one or two people who want to help or assist in it. Then at the end of the day, we'll get the things done properly.
Okay. Mr. Moni, I mean, when we saw the footages, everybody was in shock that these gallant men, honorable men, and their remains were put in these sacks. But this is the explanation that the CDS is giving. What do you say?
We appreciate the explanation, but it's so late in coming. Timeliness is of essence when it comes to issues of such magnitude. And the time lag that fueled a lot of speculations, conspiracy theories, rumors, counter-rumors, allegations, counter-allegations, and all that. So while we appreciate what he did, our appeal to them, with all due respect, is that next time we need to scale up the speed with which we'll give information to help quieting tempers, and ensure that the people, buy into whatever we fed them, because information is so important. And the timeliness of information is of supreme importance. So it's a wake-up call to all of us, where we fall short as a nation. This is the time has come for us to wake up. The time has come for us to ensure that we catch up with what we need to do, so that, touch wood, should we find ourselves again in such a situation, will not be found wanting as to the extent we have been exposed now. So.
I wonder that of all the footages that we saw, if there were body bags, why didn't we see at least one in any of the shots? But Mr. Chedia, it's your time now to reflect on this matter.
Yeah, sweetie,
did you see any
sweetie,
in the videos that were circulating?
No.
Yeah.
But anytime questions come up regarding how our comrades, how our fallen heroes were handled, tears begin to flow. And I find it very difficult to discuss this, how they were handled. But we understand that is also part of the investigations. The response time, crime scene management, and all those things will be part of the final report. So I want to hold my brief here until the final report comes. Yes.
Thank you for that, and I appreciate that. So let's spend the remaining 10-15 minutes and get into our newspapers. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, on the helicopter crash, state funeral for victims tomorrow, yes. And we understand that at 8:30 today, they will be briefing the nation. The funeral committee will be briefing the nation in terms of what roads will be closed, because some roads will be closed to, sort of cordon off the area so we can have a peaceful ceremony. We are ready for Akwetia by-election, September 2nd, EC assures. NDC and NPP will be locking horns, so we are all looking forward to that. And I also have the New Republic, and on the front page, NPP runs from 2 TikTok bombers. Disowns offensive. Oh, so that's the apology that was rendered on that. Gentlemen, what papers do you have and what are the stories on the front page? Most of the stories here we've already dealt with. So, Mr. Moni, let me start.
Daily Guide, Bawumia picks forms, calls for clean campaign. Helicopter crash, Tokonole's wreath signs book of condolence. Police arrest MPP Sierra caller over gun claims. Bafo Boni removes Justice Opon from law school, and Kwauhini celebrate with supporters on the 17th of August. That's the Daily Guide. Yeah.
Any of these pique your interest you want us to talk about? Bawumia picking the forms, it's an interesting one. We have a spokesperson. No, go ahead.
Interesting indeed, but again, this violates the law of timing. If this MPP found it prudent, expedient to withdraw from Tamale Central in consonance with the mood of the nation, I would have expected them to put a pin in their program to elect their next flag bearer. They could have just postponed this. And here we are. This story has overshadowed all other stories. And to me, this is not the most important story here. This is not, we all have our sense of judgment. But there are certain commonalities when it comes to new judgment. And the sweetie will agree with me. So as far as we are concerned as a nation, I beg to differ that Bawumia picking forms is the dominant story now in this nation. It is not.
It's not.
I differ.
It's certainly not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I stand.
So the MPP also led them into temptation.
Okay.
By not putting a pin. They could have postponed it to next week. And the value would have been the same.
Well, in his, not defense, but he didn't pick the forms himself.
I think the whole event should have been postponed.
Okay. The filing, the picking of forms, everything.
Yeah. To next week, after the funeral.
But sweetie, have you seen a presidential candidate picking forms himself? It doesn't happen.
You're right.
Quite often.
You're right.
And in this instance, the fanfare with which they said the youth organizes over 400 of them. And for MPP, it's from one chaos to another. When nominations are opening and party executives in the official capacities are lead to pick forms for a particular candidate, that is another thing for us to discuss. But
and I agree with the fanfare that's not square with the mood of the
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the double standards I was talking about. If on one breath we say we are in a solemn moment, and for that matter, you don't want the chaos associated with elections, but at the same time, a day to or 2 days, or on the very 1 week of this calamity, you have a group of people with brass band or the fanfare going to pick a form for a
Is it an argument we
candidate?
can make that after the 3 days of mourning and we ended it, the combination with that evening of reflection and all that, people are starting to go back to their normal activities? And this party has already shown some good faith by withdrawing from Tamale Central. Is it an argument we can make that they're just going about, you know, their life after?
This argument cannot.
Reflecting with...
Cannot hold water.
Okay.
See, you know, traditionally...
Kamal-Deen, I'll come to you because you speak for the party.
Traditionally, 1 week is very important, and more so, we have just tomorrow to do the state, after state funeral. So for me, we continued yesterday. NEIP had a board meeting, and we observed a minute silence until we finished with a 1 week with a state funeral. I think we're still in a very deep mourning state. Now, sweetie,
let me hear.
You and FT.
Hold on, Mr. Chair, hold on. Was it imperative that you made a ceremony out of yesterday's event the way you did? What necessitated that?
Well, you see, first of all, the law of timing as espoused by Mr. Money has some different approaches. First of all, nobody is saying that we are not in a state of mourning as a country. We are. Dr. Bawumia has shown commitment to it. Former President John Ajokum Kufuor, former President Akufo-Addo, and all the statesmen have shown commitment to it. But how does political party run? Political party, just as any other organization, run on laws governing them. They have a constitution. We have bodies like National Council, Steering Committee, and the National Executive Committee, where we take decisions. And when decisions are taken, timing, back to your law of timing, is put on them. When you open nomination, you have number of days to pick or you are out of it. It is clear. Now, if these are all instituted, the law of timing here would have an exception, as it were. Okay? So I'm saying that picking the forms, okay, and you are making the argument that it could have been deferred. Whether or not the time that is put on picking the forms we don't pick, can you defer, comes to play. At that point, that is where decisions are not just taken by the General Secretary or the Chairman. When National Council, which is the second highest body in this party, takes a decision, until you convene again the National Council, that decision cannot be departed from. That is how it works. So I'm saying that...
Not even a postponement
No. You don't.
Okay.
And should they please. Since the incident, NDC has put on hold.
No, it's not true. I was coming to that. I listened to your... Is it Dr. Computer or now Mr. Computer? It's Mr. Computer, okay. No more doctor. Okay. I listened to him. Even in the mood of we being in a state of mourning, what he had to say is, we have strategies of Akwatia put in place already by Omanibo before he died. Really? I listened to your own election. This is a comment he made. No, please. It's about you.
I did.
Your own. You have. I have. Even this morning.
I didn't hear him either. So
I am saying it emphatically. Look, he's my brother, and I will never lie against him.
What I'm saying,
he did mention that strategy for Akwatia to win Akwatia was actually given to them before Omanibo Ama's departed. He mentioned, and I thought that was actually unfair.
He asked a very important question.
So,
putting on hold for, say, 2-3 days. Would that have...
I said it doesn't lie with one person to put on hold. I just answered the question and said, no, this is the body.
But the people who make up the, the
so you
national...
you would have to call National Council again and then come back. Everybody comes from the whole country.
Are they not aware of the state or the atmosphere in the country right now?
With the great respect. You see,
but they do.
Let me not say this and then we go on. In a can, they have a saying that... I'm not a can, but of course I heard. They say Yesua, and I don't know what they say. That's one.
What does it?
Two. It means that when there's a funeral, you don't cry forever.
Okay.
That's what it means. Two. When you come
so you're saying there's nothing you could have done.
Let me add this to you. Let me add a very important thing to you. No,
on the day of funeral, it is unthinkable to organize a party.
There's another comment that you need to know. We, the Gombes, and for that matter, we Northerners, when there's, marriage is a ceremonial. It's a happy situation. Funeral, indeed, is a sober situation. When the two occur at the same time, the advice is go for the marriage first before you attend to the funeral. That is our culture. So I am saying that yes, in as much as we are in a
NPP adopted the culture of...
I'm not, but I'm trying to make it.
So how does that play into the argument?
This has nothing to... I don't even know why we tie this matter into it, because Alfred Money brought the idea of time...
no, because the whole country...
I am trying to say that once there is a going concern, in as much as we are mourning and we are in a state of soberness, it does not take away the fact that we should advance, as it were.
Mr. Chedi, I wanted to...
Thank you very much. What you were saying in one breath that you are lowering the political temperature in another breath. And Sweetie, I mean, assuming without maybe accepting the situation that the National Executive, whoever is in charge, refuses to postpone, you could have picked the form in a very sober mood, quietly. Go and pick your form.
First of all, you don't go with that.
In any way, let me deal with my
contributor to pick a form.
Let me deal with.
But you know, but did that for him.
But whatever they do it.
Okay, let's move on quickly.
So, Business and Financial Times, strong CD, easing inflation, create room for lending expansion. Then Rihanna Foundation commits $500,000 to fund nationwide study on youth opioid abuse. Targeted financing seen as key to Africa's industrial growth.
So, you were struggling to hide your smile lines when you were reading the story on Strong CD. You are so excited.
I've been in a different mood all day. But this brings some little smile. You know how passionate I am with these economic indicators, and they need to have lower lending rates. I keep talking about my constituency, Bekum West, where over 5,000 people are involved in tomato production. They're getting loans at an exorbitant interest rate, over 30%, and that is inimical to productivity. So I've been advocating for lower interest rates, and it's exciting for the Governor of Bank of Ghana to highlight these positive indicators that in the first 7-8 months, the CD has appreciated over 40% against the US dollar. Now we have our reserve in excess of $1 billion. So we are appealing to the banks. We are appealing indeed that the risk of lending has lowered, and customers should benefit from that by having lower interest rates in their lending.
The overseer.
Now, quick one, the overseer, we have at the top, MPP apologizes to Mahama, NDC over affiliated TikTok users' remarks on helicopter crash. Raymond Atoguba appointed GLC's acting director of legal education, Justice Opong reassigned. Defense Ministry assures transparent probe into fatal helicopter crash, and Suparu hails Ghana's digital strides at AI Africa Lab launch. Another story says, thank you for Tamale Central withdrawal, but expect defeat in Akutia, NDC to MPP. And of course, the other one says, we have lost a brother, a mentor, a light. Dr. Mark Oliver Kevo mourns Dr. Omani Buama. These are the stories on the front page of the Overseer. But of interest has to do with MPP apologizing to NDC for affiliated TikTok comments. Once again, I would re-enter it and admonish every single person that we should be, decorous. We should appear circumspect in whatever we say in the media, be it social media or traditional media. And it cuts across, not just MPP. MPP has shown the way. Let NDC also show the way. Recklessness on our social media, the misinformation, the disinformation, it's just too much. And I think it's not helping us at all. That,
Mr. Money, final word.
So what has happened to the MPP communicators should serve as a fountain of lesson from which all communicators across the political divide should drink. And let me say hello to William. William has commented on the acts or misbehavior by these communicators, and is urging training in proactive communication, proactive leadership for all communicators. William well noted, and I believe going forward, all the parties will make it a point, a topmost priority to educate their communicators, not to fall foul of the law.
Thank you. If you can do this in 20 seconds, otherwise we have to go.
With my brother about our comments. As much as the 1992 Constitution, Chapter 5, Clause 21 allows for free speech, we should also be very mindful of the consequences of our actions, because Electronic Communications Act 2008 at 775, has given guidelines for us to be responsible in whatever we say in the electronic space. So we should be very mindful.
The police should not be selective when it comes to this matter, not just attacking.
So those who join us for the conversation this morning, Kamal-Deen Abdulai is the Deputy Director for Communications for the NPP. The legislator for Brekum West, Dixon Tredia, also joined us, and Afelmoni is former president of GJ. Thank you, gentlemen. Today,
my name Kamal-Deen.
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 Kamal-Deen. Thank you so much. So we'll take a break now. When we return, I wish you could see, after fighting, they're shaking hands in the studio. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll bring you our big stories on the AM show. We'll be right back.